On today's DNVR Nuggets podcast, we're going to share some hangover takes on last night's game. Do the Nuggets need a signature moment? And more specifically, does Jamal Murray need a signature moment? We'll talk about that. And other teams that are going through similar things as the Denver Nuggets. We step away from Denver for a second to look at the West and see that we're not alone in our suffering. This is all that and more on DNVR Nuggets. Fired up, baby. Monday. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it this week. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Let's go. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your option. Find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We are coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your front range Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We got the fellas together, man. The band is back together.
Yes, sir.
We back, baby. Over here, Brendan Vogt.
You guys like, this hat says Mustard Mike.
I've been liking that hat
So
lately.
I figured I'd go with the mustard. What do we think?
Mustard shirt?
Yeah, jacket.
I'd say so.
All right, that's all I got. Move on to the next person.
Over here, we got D-Line Go.
That's right, guys. I was really sad to miss yesterday's game and post-game with you.
Don't forget the watch along.
And the watch-along. I've really enjoyed everybody's very measured takes online and otherwise. Can't wait to get into it. I've seen some very measured takes in the chat already.
And then over there, Harrison Wynn.
Well, the other word for that D-line is November. It's November.
I know that and you know that. Do they know that?
And by they, he, of course, means me and Vogt. We are very critical of the Denver Nuggets right now, including one Jamal Murray, and I should stand by it. But you guys weren't here to share your hangover takes from what I perceive to be a very, embarrassing is a strong word because, again, there's 82 games. But if you were to isolate just the one game, I would say it was an embarrassing performance. That was a team playing Jalen Wells. Starting Jalen Wells.
Your guy.
But I do like
one of your guys.
It is one of my guys. But so is Peyton Watson, Christian Bray. The Nuggets have a lot of my guys as well. That was a team that was missing a lot of guys as much as Denver was, and yet it really wasn't a competitive one. So you guys, hangover takes, and really it's not even hangover. There we go. We go to the hangover because we really didn't get yours. I'll start with you, Harrison. What was your take on that game last night?
This was another classic game where Nikola Jokic is out. I'm just saying classic because we've been in this exact situation many times before.
Correct.
Nikola Jokic is out. Jamal Murray thrust into the spotlight. We're all expecting him to, pick up his production, have a game, especially when he's going against Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah.
And you just look at the matchup and you're like, okay, the ground is laid. This is an exact opportunity for Jamal Murray to have just a standout performance, and the Nuggets probably need him to win, and he just has a dud. 13 points on 6 of 15 shooting, 6 turnovers, 7 assists in 37 minutes in a 15-point loss. He was bad. The Nuggets were bad, and the trend of them looking like they actually don't know how to play basketball without Nikola Jokic continues.
It is a trend indeed. It's funny that you mentioned Jalen Wells, though, and Scottie Pippen Jr., because if we rewind the clock to June of 2023, Jalen Wells is playing D2 basketball, and Scottie Pippen Jr. is a non-signed, undrafted player. And last night, they both outperformed Jamal in a game, which is a little bit wild. So,
Yeah.
that is the trend. So, but I want to pull on one other thing you said, because performance is one part of it. Did you produce numbers? Did you make shots? What have you? But the thing that was bothersome to me was it just wasn't a spirited effort.
Yeah.
And that, again, you could teams lose games, man, but it's spirited. That wasn't spirited.
Not at all. Not at all. And like I said, with Nikola Jokic out, these are the opportunities for Jamal Murray to show who he is. And, we've seen that in these situations. We don't really get that in the regular season environment for Jamal. And, there was no spirit to his game or to the Nuggets last night. And it was an opportunity for him individually to set a tone in that regard.
Yeah.
You know, if Jamal Murray played with a spirit and a fire and a hunger, I'm sure the rest of the Nuggets would have.
Yeah.
Like, he can set the tone
Totally.
in these situations and in these spots, and he didn't. And, you know, sure enough, you know, the Nuggets didn't have any of that either.
D-Line, what were your takeaways or your thoughts?
Well, I mean, my main thought I put on Twitter right away is that the Nuggets wasted everybody's time last night. Like, it was not beneficial. There was nothing to, in my mind, there's not a lot to draw from it. I mean, the Nuggets, to say that the Nuggets are, they're heliocentric in that everything goes through Jokic, but they're not heliocentric in that he does everything. But they are so programmed to play around him, and it's when he's not there, and then you look at these guys, they just don't know how to do it. They just like don't know how to do it.
It's staggering. Man.
It is staggering. They don't know who to pass to. They don't know who to rely upon. And I agree. I mean, Jamal was terrible last night. Michael Porter Jr. was terrible last night. Like, everybody was terrible last night.
Mike almost skates under the radar because
He
Jamal,
totally does.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there are
Mike
times
had a
when
horrific
Mike's
game
bad,
last
but he
night.
was also just as bad, if not worse.
Last night he was
He got
unplayable.
outscored by Jamal, whoever he's mad at.
He
Like,
got benched. I mean, Porter
He
got
did.
benched.
He did get benched. Yeah.
right. So, I mean, I look across the Nuggets and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, if Patrick Mahomes goes out, the Chiefs are in big trouble. Like, if
It's a different sport, though. In a
but it's
meaningful
not
way.
it's not different in that Nikola Jokic is the quarterback of the Denver Nuggets. He gets the ball in his hands every single play. Everything goes through him. They're not just like waiting for him to do one thing to score whatever. Like, he is the engine that makes the entire offense run. For the fact that the bench isn't playing well and cohesive is not surprising either. There's some amount of crossover, staggering, this, that, or the other. There's no like set bench lineup that you can just say like, okay, you guys need to figure it out now that Jokic is out. They're just jumbled. I mean, if a lot of this, like, I look at it, I'm like, my God, guys, like, on Twitter and everything, I'm like, you gotta watch more basketball. Like, this happens normally around this time of year. We're talking about why Jokic isn't shooting, why we're waiting till Jokic for him to wake up and start playing. It's super disappointing that Jamal Murray is not able to stand to rise up and take the mantle of second best player, run the team. But I mean, absolutely nothing's changed from where we were 4 days ago after that 5-game win streak where we were all on top of the world, proclaiming that the Nuggets.
Half those games without Jamal, though.
But point being, like, the best versions were at the end when Jamal was part of it. And we were like, this is great because Jamal's actually taking a step back and he's actually being more effective. He's not the de facto second player in line. Like, we don't have to worry about those two unless it comes down to the two-man game, and then you can count on them to go together. There's just a lot of like, man, this is like why people get so mad at the NBA in general, is because you get games like this. 2 games in a row for the Nuggets is rough without Nikola Jokic. They don't look
And 5 days off leading into it. That's part of this, I swear to God, is that this is actually a 2-week absence.
That's
even
just
though it's only 2 games.
We could not have been higher.
Yeah.
And it's not like the team just forgot to play. Like, they don't have Jokic. And anybody who thinks they can win without Jokic, they're not going to. But it is alarming to see how low the level of teams that they can lose to without him.
But here's one thing that you said, and I'll ask you this, and it kind of sucks for Jokic, to be honest. The Nuggets never have a good bench when Jokic's not on the floor. They never do. But you're almost insinuating that part of that is because of Jokic, not anything of his own fault, but that maybe it's inevitable that because they play such a unique style, they'll always have a bad bench. You would give them the best bench in the NBA, but it would actually be a bad bench just because Jokic changes the way you play and you can't play 2 styles.
To some extent, not all, to some extent, that is part of the dynamic. The Nuggets are one of the teams that has the best player in the world, and it's a big gap between that guy and number 2. And so everything they do is about what it's like when he's on the floor and maximizing that. I think there is still criticism to dole out to the coaching staff, to Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. for their inability to figure it out at all. And in fact, they look to be getting worse right now than getting better. But I actually do think there is something to the idea that, like, more so than other teams, it is about how it looks when Jokic is on the floor, because that's what gives them the best chance to win. But that's not an excuse. That's part of the dynamic. It still has to be better than this. And I think it starts with, look, the coaching staff takes some blame, but most other teams are able to throw their second and third max contract guys out there and get more. And so, like, even if that dynamic is real, it still falls back to, Malone and Murray needing to be better in those minutes. And it's not new. Since 2001, 2022, the stat comes to us from Carson Breber on Twitter. Denver outscores teams by 11.3 points per 48 minutes with Jokic on the floor.
That's a lot.
Since 2021, 2022, Denver is outscored by 10.2 points per 48 minutes with Jokic
Almost
off the floor.
exact same number.
And respectively, those are the best and the worst point differentials per minute of any team in that span. That comes from Carson Breber on Twitter. He does Nerd Sesh podcast, I think, with The Volume. But I don't, people deem this unacceptable, and I think I get that. You don't have to like it. And it should be better, but it doesn't necessarily prohibit them from contention. It has always been this way. The more pressing questions, in my opinion, are the questions that remain when Jokic is available. And there are plenty of questions that remain when Jokic is available.
Here's where I disagree with both of you guys, though. It wasn't about the effectiveness. It was just about the energy, the effort. And
They
all
don't know
those
how to
things.
play though.
But
I really think that's it.
They don't. The funny thing is, he's going to come back, and we'll just never talk about these two games again. It's just normally it's like they go to Atlanta, and we have to be like, well, they're young guys. They went out the night before. You get these oddly dispirited efforts. It sucks because they don't have that thing that is driving, because they know they have Yoke. To think that they could. I mean, if we didn't have Jokic, this is what it would look like. That's the truth. Although I think they would actually get better because they would have to find.
They would find a new identity.
They'd find a new identity, a different way to play, this, that, or the other. But, for better or worse, Jokic is the sun, moon, and the stars for this Denver Nuggets team. And when he's out there, it's not that they're just missing something. There's a big vacuous black hole, and you have guys that are earning max pay that literally don't know, they don't look like they know how to play basketball. They don't know who to pass it to. Jamal Murray's trying to get somebody to set a pick for him. He's telling Dario.
But there was also misses in transition where the guys nobody even matched up. That has nothing to do with Yoke. There were multiple wide open layups in that game because they walked back on defense and didn't pick somebody up in the paint.
For sure. I mean, it was a disgusting performance.
But that's the part I'm getting at, because you're right. If they lose these games and they hard fight and you're like, all right, whatever. But that was not the case. And if we extrapolate it even further, Jamal always has these bad Novembers. But he's at 17 points. He hasn't been that low since 2018, 17-18. He's at 30% from three. That's the lowest mark of his career. Effective field goal percentage, lowest mark of his career. A lot of this stuff is not one isolated number, and it's not just from the last two games.
Right.
And that's the part to me that I said, I just feel it is real. And I think that the Nuggets do have a bit of a Jamal, I don't want to call it problem, because I do believe he can overcome this. But they're in a moment in time where I don't know that the overcoming it just comes naturally with time, give space. There is a part of me that wonders, I just think these criticisms of him are fair, and I think that the team has to very likely look at this and go, we're in a foxhole. When you're on a team, we're in a foxhole, and this guy's not in the foxhole right now. And I even wonder, Russell Westbrook, for as good or as mistake-prone as he can be, the guy leaves it all out there every time he's on the court.
Sure.
And there's a part of me that almost wonders, would there be a wake-up call to, what if they played the same minutes one game, just naturally, because it was Russ has given us a lot of effort.
My thing is I don't think that they should look to raise Jamal up. I think that they should look to bring everybody else up and reduce their reliance on Jamal. It's this idea, we're in this now pot committed idea that we found ourselves in with Millsap. It's he's making he got a max contract. He has to make max contract level contributions. But if he's not going to, and he's shown you over and over that you can get good out of him, but you can't rely on him. Let's start to rely on other people. Let's start to empower other people. And that's what was so nice about that 5-game win streak, is that it was not just those two guys. It was everybody.
It was a team thing.
But what's concerning, and to me, this is my point. We knew before the road trip started that if Jokic missed a lot of time, this team is screwed. It's a fair criticism of everyone involved, but we knew that, right? So it's kind of about what does it look like going forward? And going forward, we hoped that this group could find a way to keep Jokic's minutes down. This does not bode well for that. It's not, it didn't look like Jamal got better in those minutes or Mike got better in those minutes. And we know they're relying on younger guys and they were missing AG. So To me, the concern that stretches across 82 is we're hopeful for signs that Jokic doesn't have to play 43 minutes every night. And we didn't get any in these 2 games. We didn't. Yeah. That being said, man, the notion that this team is sunk without Jokic, I knew that 48 hours ago. I did not need to watch the Pelicans game to understand that.
We knew that
That's
again
all
years ago.
It's not even about the Jokic part of this. And to be honest with you, it's not even about the minutes Jokic's playing to me. It was more about, I want to get on we have to take a break, but I want on the other side to know if Harrison agrees with the idea that this Nuggets team might not need the 2-man game like they have in years past, because I don't think I agree with that, but we'll talk about it on the other side.
Guys, shout out to this brand new partner here at DNVR.
Hell yeah.
Live Well.
Oh.
Live Well. Live Well. They have 25 convenient Colorado dispensary locations, including one literally across the street from my house. That's why I'm very happy they're a client. Maybe.
Harrison's living well, man.
25 convenient Colorado dispensary locations with a premium selection and expert service that awaits you. Live Well. They proudly offer a price match guarantee as well, ensuring you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. Live Well, they strive to make cannabis accessible to all because they believe that everyone deserves to
Live well.
There we go.
We got it, man.
You can visit livewell.com today to reserve your products online for a quick in-store pickup, or you can simply stop by. They can't wait to answer all your questions about cannabis. Again, 25 locations across Colorado. Tons of different places to go for Live Well. I guarantee you there's a convenient location near you. When you mention code DNVR25 in store, you're going to get 25% off one regular priced item. 25% off one regular priced item. DNVR25. Mention that code, guys. Make Live Well your go-to dispensary.
Hell yeah.
They got 25 locations. They got great stuff. Super knowledgeable. And look, you can use the code DNVR25 in store. Get 25% off one regularly priced item.
I may or may not have stopped into Live Well on my way into work. I didn't partake in Live Well before the show.
No, you're just living well.
Eventually I'm going to get back from the show. You know
Yeah, dude.
All right, shout out Live Well. By the way, shout out Bird Call as well, which kept us fed and happy on that.
Yeah, now you regret not being here.
Live
We got
watch
a free
along
Bird
last
Call.
night as we all got together to watch
actually
the
had 2
Nuggets fall on their faces. It was super fun, but
It was by far the best part of the game, by far.
thankfully, Bird Call dropped something new off at the bar, and it's something that's available for you as well at all Bird Call locations. Called the Bird in a
Place
Box.
is good, man.
People are going crazy over the Bird in a Box. Here's what it is. Here's how it works.
Bird in a
For
Box.
just $9.95, you can build your own
That's the
Bird in a Box
commercial.
with your choice of 2 crispy sliders or 1 slider and 2 tenders, plus tots, fries, pickles, and one of their signature sauces. Or if you like it spicy, you can upgrade to Nashville hot tenders, and they're spicy.
They had more sauces?
They have more
Sauces.
sauces. They have more
Oh, man, I
sauces.
gotta try these sauces.
Bird Call was hatched in Denver,
Excellent.
Colorado, and now has 8 restaurants across the Front Range with more openings soon. Get over to Bird Call and get your hands on a Bird in a Box right now. DNVR fans can score 20% off at Bird Call with promo code DNVR. Get down to Bird Call or order online at eatbirdcall.com. Grab this offer now through the end of the month.
All right, we are back. Segment 2. Throw us a like if you're watching it and enjoying the show. We do have an announcement for Diehards Only, Harrison. We
Yes.
are reaching out. Diehards Only. We're doing a lot of stuff Diehards Only. Our next takeover, we have a suite
Yes.
option.
Why are you saying this?
What?
Why are you saying? Never mind.
That's supposed to, that's for Diehards. We have to direct the Diehards to the Discord where you
Yeah.
can get a link to it, an access to it.
Okay. Go to the Discord after the show.
We broke this down. Thought we had a conversation about
It was a
That's
it's
not
supposed to
how
be
it
a
was supposed
blind
to go.
tease.
That's not how it's supposed to
be
go
a
at all.
blind tease.
All right,
Yeah.
we have a sweet deal for you guys.
Yeah, he meant SWEET.
We have a sweet deal
But
for
you have to go
Diehards
to the-
Only.
to
Go to
the
the Discord.
Discord to learn more.
All right. Well, Harrison, before we came to break, though, you know, you posited the idea, D-Line, that maybe the Nuggets need to not be so reliant on the 2-man game. To me, I think that is absolutely true for 82 games, and I even think it is true in the playoffs for a large majority of that cushy middle. But I still think you win a championship in the last 5 minutes of a game.
Oh,
and the last
definitely.
5 minutes of a game is a 2-man game. And so I kind of only partially agree, but mostly disagree. I do think all this comes down to Jamal's ability to get back to the level in the 2-man game.
I'm saying, like, you shouldn't be as reliant on and Jokic, but specifically Jamal Murray as much in the cushy middle, But when you get down to it, the two-man game is the two-man game. And like we've already seen them run fast, play hard, and then push the pace. And then when it gets down to it, it's the two-man game. It's always going to be the two-man game. But it's just, I don't know. It's like at a certain point, you just have to sort of reset expectations. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy after 2 games of an 82-game season where you're like, man, this 20-year-old millionaire is not as engaged as I am, and I don't know why that is, and it's extremely frustrating, but it doesn't mean that that's the end of the line for the Denver Nuggets. But, I mean, I get it, but everyone's just like, it's crazy to me how quickly the script can be flipped and how we can make just such sweeping generalizations and we can just say this is that after 2 games where you didn't, like, if we have Jokic and it looks like this and Jamal Murray is this sluggish and this terrible, a lot like he was in the playoffs,
the first 2 games, even a little bit of that.
Then I'm like, okay, let's have this real conversation. But I mean, like, what are we doing, man?
All right,
I think the best version of this team in the regular season is the more Jokic ball-centered approach. I just look at the Dallas game, for example. In the Dallas game, the Nuggets had 6 guys who scored 12-plus points. Of course, Nikola Jokic had a historic game, 37, 18, and 15. But
hell yeah,
MPJ had 17 points.
Yep.
Jamal Murray had 18 points. That was a pretty good game from Jamal.
It was a great one. The one
Peyton
before was even
Watson,
better.
16 points, 5 rebounds. Christian Brown, 14 and 6. And then Julian Straw, there were 12 off the bench. I think this season, especially with how Project Dynasty was emerging, like playing the Jokic ball style, that's going to be best for the regular season. Absolutely. I'm pretty confident in that. And the fact that we've already seen it in a couple of these big wins, that gives me even more confidence that that's the way. But in the playoffs,
Yes.
if the Nuggets win a championship, it's going to be, I think, the two-man game. Maybe not as central as it was to the 2023 championship. If the two-man game was at like a level 10 then, maybe they can win it if the two-man game is at like a level 8 this year. But I still think that's got to be the Nuggets' go-to. They need that to be the best two-man game in the NBA to win.
We spent the entire Minnesota series on this show saying, where's Denver's second best player? So I'm with Wind and with you. I think we're all in agreement, right? On the finer points of maybe across 82, Denver has a more egalitarian path to success that we were all really enjoying. And by the way, was going very well. It was awesome to see 4 guys hovering around 14 to 18 points. But you're going to need to be able to believe in the second best player. And he has not shown any sort of star ability through this start. And I understand that concern. You could say it's just November. You could say it's just another November for Murray. But it also bleeds into the Olympics and, of course, how the postseason ended.
Sure.
And, of course, not just the poor play, but throwing the heat pack onto the court. And there's
Sure.
Somehow, some way.
yeah.
Murray does have something to prove again. We're back to this place. And I just think that the sooner he embraces that, if he embraces that, the better everyone off will be.
Well, I'm watching last night the Suns and the Timberwolves game. Really good game. Came down to the last second shot. Julius Randle gets a 3 at the top of the arc and drains it at the buzzer to give them a win.
After an egregious push-off.
I mean, like worse than Jordan against the Jazz. It was a total knocked him
I was
off.
even surprised that wasn't late. Like, I didn't see the replay, but like in real time, I thought that was for sure.
Dude,
late.
it was it was like one fingernail's distance off his hand. I watched it in slow-mo to make sure it really was. But nonetheless, man, I hate to say it, it was a really cool moment for the Timberwolves. And Timberwolves, we'll talk about them. They've been struggling. They don't know their identity, and they have a new player. And there's something to having a signature moment. That was the very first Julius Randle, Minnesota Timberwolves signature moment. And it got me thinking, if we remember the championship year, Murray's coming back from injury. First 20 games, not that great. But there was a signature moment that really turned everything around. Coming off of a 3-game losing streak, the Nuggets are in Portland, and he hits a game winner. And it was the first, it felt like we're over the hump. There it is. That's the Jamal we remember. He does that. And from that moment on, the Nuggets went 32-9 all the way through March 8th when the wheels kind of came off and they took their foot off the gas pedal. But 32-9, that's a 64-win pace that the Nuggets played over the next 4 months following that shot. And part of me thinks, I think Jamal needs a signature moment, but he has to earn it. It has to be an earned one. It can't be he played bad all game and hit, against the Lakers. He hits a game winner at the very end. We all feel good. I feel like we need a signature Jamal won that game for us kind of game.
Yeah. I think it's a great take. And thinking back to that shot he hit against the Blazers coming off the ACL, we felt it, but also talking to people around the team at the time, it seemed like they felt it also.
100%.
Everybody with the team felt at that moment, Jamal is back.
Jamal
They probably consulted the back-meter and they're like, oh, he's back. Okay, it's official. But that was really the feeling around the team.
Yeah.
There are still going to be some ups and downs, but they saw that Jamal could get to that level again. He could rise to that moment. And so, I think it's the perfect take. A signature shot in game.
It can't be a shot, though. It can't be a shot. Jamal hits shots, man.
Yep.
He hit shots. It can't be he played terrible and he made a shot at the end.
He will have to play a very good game and then, a big shot at the end. Funny enough, they're playing the Lakers coming up here pretty soon. That would be a fitting opponent for that moment to take place against. But just one of those will reset the vibes completely.
And I'm telling you, watching that game last night, I'll throw it to you, but watching that game last night, it felt like that for Julius Randle. He has a weight on him. They're not as good with him so far out the gate. But last night, it felt like, hey, you're one of us now. Like you're on the team.
Yeah, although to be fair, as much as they have fit questions, statistically, Randall's off to a much better start than Jamal this season. I'm going to disagree, guys. I'm going to take the point you were making about the difference between the shot and the game and take it even further.
Yeah.
I just want a month that looks great.
It can't be a game. I think that's actually a good.
You know what I mean? And I love this show. I love doing it with you guys. And you guys are my favorite people. And I think you're really smart. And the next time one of us says he's back because he had one good game, I'm getting up and I'm leaving. I love us. I love you guys. You're my brothers. It's got to be a month.
He's back.
I know. And I know it's going to be Eric. So that's why I said it like that way. I looked at him with love and affection. But I just think I think I need to see a month where he looks great. And not oh man, he had that 45 piece just. He looked lighter on his feet. He looked like he had fun playing basketball. He looked like he was competing and it looked easy for him again. I just want to see that for a month before I go, now I believe again.
I mean, I get it, obviously. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just early season basketball always sucks this way. Always. There's something where it's what are they doing? Why don't they care? Blah, 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 blah. I agree with you. He has to show up and show out. At this point, you're all right, is he getting broken up? You don't know what's going on in these guys' lives. Does he just not care? Is he fully into the UFC now and he doesn't care about basketball? Now that he signed his contract, is this really what we can expect from him? I don't know. I just know that he didn't look this inept during that stretch. I know that he had a game where he scored over 24, 30 points, whatever it was, that we were all lauding him. But it's bad. This moment sucks right now. This is just we're in the dirtiest diaper we've been in some time.
This is true.
And there's nothing that you can do. You can either explain it off or, decide that it is true and go even deeper into the muck. And we don't have any control over it. I just know what I saw before these two games that Jokic wasn't out. And I have not been more hyped about the Nuggets than I have 4 days ago.
I think that's a good, that track of thought I'm with you on. Jokic is going to get back and they're going to look good again. They are. But how good and how much can be expected from Jamal as the second best player, just to me, feels like a conversation that's different than the last two games. And that's why I was hammering that distinction. Look, man, I could have told you they probably would have lost that game, even if they shouldn't without Jokic and AG. But there's a more persistent and enduring question with Jamal that feels like it's going on a year and a half now.
That's the thing is it's not just a small trend. And I think it's impossible to separate the summer, the last season, all that stuff from this current state.
That's how I feel. And so I just understand. I understand because the best defense and the understandable defense was always, he's bad in October, he's bad in November, he'll be good in June. But he wasn't good in June last year. And so all of a sudden, that's a fickle reputation, right? That can change real quick. And I understand the concern beyond just, they didn't look good in those two games as it pertains to Jamal.
Yeah, I just think the season comes so disproportionately down to Jamal because, to your point, I am optimistic about all the other pieces and how they can fit together. I'm optimistic about the Nuggets having new parts of their identity. We're going to get into some of the numbers later on in the show that point to a new identity that's exciting and productive for the Nuggets, that they can even reduce Murray's role, which I actually think is important. But at the end of the day, if you ask me, is this team working in the right direction? Until I see Jamal sort of take ownership of his responsibility to this team,
then
I won't.
Sucked yesterday.
But I mean, the way I phrased it, I think, is more important than good or sucked. Until I just don't know that he feels the responsibility to the team that is going to be required for them to go and win a title.
I mean, he sucked as a guy yesterday. Like, not as a player, like as a person. He sucked yesterday. Like, him going to the UFC fight and then coming back and then giving
can't play
that
bad there, man.
extremely lackluster performance in a place where all of Denver was looking at him. It was very clear that this was his moment to shine.
And I know that bothered people, man. I know that bothered
for
people.
sure.
Not just fans. I know that bothered people.
Oh, it bothered everybody. I mean, it bothered
Yeah.
me. Like, everybody. Like, it's just, it was disgusting. Like, it really. He was truly wasting our time and stealing money from the Denver Nuggets.
Right.
But you can either. I mean, there's just two ways you can go with any of this stuff. You can be like, well, that's what it is, and you can just be angry, and you can be happy if anybody says something bad about Jamal Murray because it fills that angry part in your soul. Or you can sort of like look at like where we were going before last night and the night before and say like, all right, so where are we actually? Like, because again, like if you put any faith or any stock into what happened last night, like Michael Porter Jr. should be cut. Jamal Murray should be cut. Peyton Watson should go to the G League. No one played up to speed. Like nobody.
Hopefully Yoke is back tomorrow night. Although it's not for certain that he will be. I hope he is back.
I don't think he's with the team now.
He's not going to be back. We're going to lose the cup, guys. We're going to lose the cup.
Or we're going to have a great vibey win without Yoke that's going to propel us into
Holy
another win
smokes, dude.
streak.
They
We'll
thought
find
they
out,
put
though.
this great group together for the cup, and everyone's hurt on all the teams.
That's so
It's
true.
just
Actually,
everyone's
that actually
out.
is kind of weird.
It's unbelievable.
On the other side, though, we are going to talk about other teams who are dealing with some similar things to the Nuggets, and the list, guys, very long. We'll get to that.
Guys, shout out to Bet365. That's what we use here at DNVR to bet. That's how Dev wins us money before every game.
But not without Jokic.
It's courtesy of the great folks over at Bet365. We love these guys. You can sign up with that QR code there on the screen with the code DNVR365 because Bet365 is now an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche, and they're giving new customers in Colorado 2 months of Altitude Plus on them when you sign up. You can watch the Nuggets on Altitude Plus. Get 2 months of it on them when you sign up with Bet365. But what you got to do is use our code, DNVR365. Sign up as an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 and 2 months of Altitude Plus. You sign up with the code DNVR365, deposit $10, place a bet of $5, get $150 in bonus bets, and that code to get the first 2 months of Altitude Plus courtesy of Bet365. Then you go over to Altitude Plus, make an account, redeem your code to stream. Boom. Then you sign up and start watching Nuggets games, whatever the moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. Limited offers, so sign up today. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
588-2300.
Empire.
There it is, guys. Empire are the emperors, not their word choice, mine. The goats of flooring. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. They have no official opinion on structures of government or leadership whatsoever. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats. You can always sniff them out, though, because they make one mistake. And they think it's a smart move. They say, we carry the lowest price product around. And that's how you know that they carry a load of redacted. I won't say it on the ad read, but it's malarkey, man. It's malarkey. Because the real stuff, the stuff that Empire Today wants to put in their own floors, in their own businesses, in their own offices, it's expensive, right? So they're not going to sell you the cheap stuff. They also have the virtual floor designer, which is a great way to take a look at how the new floor looks in your home or business without committing. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/DNVR for details.
All right, back here, segment 3, DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Let's go around the association a little.
yeah.
And really
Please.
just around the Western Conference. And talk about other teams, and let's just take the temperature on them. Are they feeling vibey at the moment? The Golden State Warriors are atop the Western Conference. They sit at 10-2. They have a handful of statement/signature wins. I think they're feeling great about themselves, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They're a rare example in the Western Conference where I think they look around and are going, yeah, we got it. We got what it takes early on. All right.
I mean, I'm surprised by them.
I'm not really buying it, are you?
Definitely not, but I'm really surprised by them. They're coming out of the gate very hot, and they have real wins under their belt. They're not just like beating up on bad teams. No, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. We had a whole conversation about like the core that is Steph Curry and like what he's able to do with entirely new players. It's wild.
But they have, if you talk to a lot of the people covering the Warriors, Klay Thompson had turned himself into an anchor a little bit, an emotional drag on that team, and they're playing like a team that has been unburdened by a very good player, but one that was a drag. The Thunder look great, but they're in limbo, man. Would you rather be in the Thunder spot right now? They're winning games. They have a good record, 11-3, but Chet Holmgren has a broken hip.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's bad.
that's an injury you only get when you're 80 years old. Actually, I was at a wedding in Florida this last weekend, and Florida wedding, a lot of old people there.
Yeah.
Somebody actually broke their kneecap at the ceremony.
Oh,
Pickleball?
Yeah. What?
They just fall
Not doing
over.
pickleball?
No, just like
Standing.
walking down the stairs.
Oof.
Oh, that's a rough
it was
scene.
rough. But it reminded me of Chet Holmgren's injury. Yeah, that's the type of injury you're
That's an
supposed to get.
unbelievable take.
That's the type of injury you're supposed to get when you're 80 years old.
I still have not seen that fall. I'm like afraid to watch it.
Yeah, he falls hard. So the Thunder, you could say the vibes are good, but I don't know if the vibes are good there. I think they are a team that has a good record, but probably has some uncertainty. Houston Rockets are number 3 in the West, 10-4.
One less loss than the Nuggets.
My
The
Rockets
Rockets
did.
are your team that's going to have a great, fun year. They've announced their arrival as a non-scrub team.
By leaking that they're not trading any of their young players.
But I don't think they're going to go. They're not going to like win several series in the playoffs.
No.
Well, you have to make the playoffs before you start winning. Typically,
That's
so,
what, right.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. They're like good for them. They're taking the right step.
Totally.
They
I
probably
just think
feel
they're
good.
that team this year that feels great, is going to be a thorn in everyone's side, but you probably don't have to list them as a contender.
I hate to say this, but the Lakers are 9-4, number 4 seed right now, and I think they feel great about themselves. They've won 5 in a row. They went through a little bit of a rough patch.
Yeah.
I think they're a team that looks around and goes, we're getting contributions from new guys, Dalton Connect. They're having some guys play well for them, so I think they feel good about themselves.
Anthony Davis, now the best big man in the NBA again. Congrats to him.
I didn't. You know how this is how the internet works, where I never see the controversy. I only see the conversation of the controversy. Why were they talking about Jokic and AD for some reason like that? So I just saw people be like, I can't believe
because he's at the birth of his child, and Anthony Davis played a couple good games.
this is as simple as that. I thought maybe
think
there was an
that's-
inciting incident.
No, I don't think so.
The Phoenix Suns are 9-5, and now we get those 4 teams: the Rockets, Lakers, Thunder, and Warriors. You could argue they are actually feeling good about themselves, but now we get into the pile of mid here, of which the Nuggets find themselves. 9-5 for the
Pile of
Phoenix
mid.
Suns. Well, at the moment, I'm not saying they're perpetually mid,
That's
but at the
good.
moment, it's
That
not
was
quite
good.
over. The Phoenix Suns are 9-5. Kevin Durant's already hurt. Bradley Beal's already been in and out of the lineup. We're only 13
I'm
games
stunned.
in. Yeah.
Dude,
I'm just so shocked right now.
I forget he's on their team. Honest to God.
Bradley Beal.
Beal.
Yeah, I'm always like, oh, look, they got him tonight. That's nice.
And the other funny part, man, about them that's going on, just kind of cover these, try to follow all these teams and the storylines. Devin Booker has taken an ultimate homie move, step back to make room for these other 2 guys. And then they're not around any of the time, and he has to go off. And he's almost in this weird in-between spot where he's like, I'm sacrificing so I don't have to carry, but you guys are never here, so I have to carry.
Sounds like somebody else I know. Nikola Jokic.
Oh, he's got to
Although kind of an up and down year for Booker, right? He did go off last
night he went off in a
last
loss.
night.
Although, an interesting
Durant,
note,
though.
one of the things we talked about yesterday was, well, without Jokic, their teams are trapping Jamal, and that's part of it. He has to get the ball out. Booker got trapped so much last
It's
night.
the
Went
thing,
for
man.
44
It's-
points.
It's a great point till you watch another modern guard.
Totally.
And you're like, oh, shit, it's really easy.
I know.
really
Right?
easy.
You just go around.
Yeah.
Just go around.
Go through, split them.
But nonetheless,
Dribble
man,
around.
if you look at the Phoenix Suns
Dribble around
right
the
now,
court.
they really are not sure if Yusuf Nurkic is their guy, which I know Nuggets fans are going to eat up. Like Nurkic is
Again,
having a
I'm
real...
just,
Can I
I am
solve this
stunned
mystery
at
for
all
them?
these developments.
Can I solve this mystery for them?
Yeah.
He's not.
He's not their guy. And then they have, Ryan Dunn made like 13 straight threes. Now he's missed like 43. Like, they're just
Stunning.
They have this weird year right now where they don't know who they are, but similar, I guess, at the moment to the Nuggets.
Luckily, I think I know exactly who they are.
Well, I think
They're
they're
a
better.
little better. They are a little
Luckily,
better.
they're positioned to where they can really make some big in-season acquisitions. Oh no, they can't do anything because they're above the second.
You
half.
guys are writing off the Suns. I'm just pointing. I think the Suns have a good team, but the problem with the Suns always is, will they get a chance to become a good team?
I agree with
And
that. That's what I'm
already the answer seems to be not yet. I mean,
But
What's interesting though, I'm looking at the standings right now. Did you know the Phoenix Suns are the only team in the top 10 of the Western Conference with a negative point differential?
I did know that.
It's very slightly negative, very slightly. But everybody has a positive point differential. Even the 10th seeded Dallas Mavericks at 7-7, and Phoenix is at negative 0.9.
Well,
of a
Denver's
point
second worst
differential.
among those, so Denver right ahead of them. I mean, they're
Bang.
one loss away from being right.
But
right
Denver's
with them.
got some wide swings, I would think.
Yeah, they have some
They've
blowout
got some
losses.
pretty wide swings.
The Timberwolves, I mentioned last night, was a kind of a big moment. They're on a little 2-game winning streak, but they're another team that their core guys don't look like they fit together. Did last year elevate the vibes, and it's a moment they ride? Maybe. But Jaden McDaniels isn't happy. They have a bunch of players that don't seem to understand the role. They're figuring it out, and I think their figured out process is at minimum another month.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's how this works. They still have like enough talent that I still think that they will figure it out by season's end. But I do think that they're just like fundamentally not as, they're not structured in a way to go beyond where they went last year for sure.
I mean, it was funny because on the All NBA show today, I had a NBA shooting coach on, Mark Campbell, and he analyzes the league as well. Really good analyst. And he was really, really, really high on their moves. And he actually thinks that they're going to. I mean, I even asked him hit them or the Suns. Who he buys? He's like, no question, it's going to be Minnesota. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league by the end of the year. And that's just it was the first guy I've kind of heard go out on a branch like that.
It's an interesting thought. I mean, but I think I am not writing Minnesota off as a team that figures it out and gets back into that top 4 out west conversation at all. But I do agree that, like Denver is right now, and several other teams to the point of this segment, they're going to be in searching mode for, I think, a while. And like Ant was firing up an unbelievable amount of threes to start the season, and that
Still
was
is.
and right, still is, and that was more than just the Missoula Renaissance wave. It was
I love that he gets credit for this.
it was credit is one word for it.
blame.
But it was also like, yo, what is this spacing? Like, what am I supposed to do? Cat was at least a shooting big that's kind of not really a center. But now it's Randall and Gobert. So, like, they do have things to figure out, but they also have a lot of talent, and Anthony Edwards is really good.
If you want my ultimate hater take from watching the Suns and the Timberwolves last night, because the Timberwolves have been bad in the clutch, they just don't look good. Both teams look so bad in the clutch last night. At least Phoenix didn't have anybody. It was basically, can Booker make a hero shot or not? But even then, didn't look great. And the ball bounced in their favor like 8 times in a row in the clutch. And sometimes that's all it takes, though. You know,
I mean,
and then you feel good about yourself.
You just look at what Dallas did last year. Like they were, after they made the trade, like it didn't work, and then it did.
Yeah,
you
worked
know, and then
really
they
well.
figured it out, and now it's maybe not working this next season. But
They
made we got to get to them in a second. I got to go to the Memphis real quick. Memphis 8-6, basically the same as the Nuggets. But the thing with Memphis is they haven't been healthy at all this year.
At all.
It's a miracle they're 8-6. So would you feel better if the Nuggets had not played with their roster at all, but were at the same record?
No.
I don't know.
No.
They have gained no traction. They've just survived these games.
It
Basically.
is nice to see what the final form of your team can be.
Totally.
In some of these games. So I would take that. What I will say is, like, watching Zach Edey from afar, it's a different experience when he's dunking on your team. It feels way worse.
Man, last night he made an impact on that game. Go ahead.
Well, don't they just feel maybe more than anyone else in the league like they're different night to night across the last 2.5
Memphis?
years? Yeah.
Oh, well, because they quite literally are.
different
Yeah.
rotation or whatever, but
Sacramento Kings 8-6. Here's the thing about the Kings, man. De'Aaron Fox. How good is De'Aaron Fox?
Very good.
I mean, obviously he's
Very
very good,
good.
but I'm saying like we don't ever talk about him as the top guards in the NBA. But I'm watching him go 60 points, 50 points, and I'm like, this guy. And I think they have an identity crisis too, and that they have DeRozan, they've got Sabonis, and they have Fox, and it's like, all right, the three of them. Part of me goes, no, it's not. De'Aaron Fox is their best player by a long shot, and everyone else needs to fall in line. But maybe they're making that process this year, but they're still in the early days.
I buy Fox as a guy who it's going to translate for too. I know they had a kind of like a step back year, but when they went at the Warriors, Fox was by far and away the guy that was ready for the moment, that was not afraid of the moment. That if you were a Kings fan, you would say, man, just put it in his hands even if he misses, that's how I'm going down. I buy Fox, man, not just as a guy who's found a way to do this in a high-powered offense in a regular season, but as a guy that can do this in the tightest moments.
I think he's a winner. And when you watch him, he's a super competitor, a la Westbrook, where he's just like going to throw his body. He was caution to the wind to throw his body in position to make a play. And you kind of love that about him. But they still have an identity crisis that they're going to have to work through this year. And then lastly, the Dallas Mavericks. And this is where I think you should really have faith in the Denver Nuggets, no matter what you think of their talent. Last year, things fell in place for the Mavericks. They got the right collection of guys and two superstars that gelled at the right moment and to a high degree. But their team wasn't necessarily great. And this year, they make trades. You get Klay Thompson. That's an upgrade. We made upgrades. Lively's better. And yet, they're not as good. And I think some of that is because they lost a little bit of the connection that they had last year and some of the pieces out. And that's why I look at Denver and I go, they're going to win this off of Jokic, Murray, and the connection of their top 8. And I think Jokic is there. I think the connection of the top 8 is like, we saw it, it's coming along. And that's why I just look at it and I go, it's Jamal. That's why, to me, there's one piece missing, and it's him. But Dallas, they lost the magic that they had last year so far.
I mean, they played a lot of games without Lively, or they've had like kind of in and out, like guys are they're back now, but like they have to rediscover it. Like
they have to rediscover the magic.
They do, absolutely. You saw, I mean, man, when the Nuggets played the Mavs, like Kyrie went insane.
Yeah,
Luka has not had a very good start this year. He's been missing a lot of shots. He's been just atrocious on defense.
That's part of what I'm getting at here, though. Luka has a little Jamal to him out the gate where it's almost like this is beneath him, and he's playing this way.
Totally.
And it trickles down into that team. And that's why I brought them up, and that's why they're last, also just because we went in order of the standings. But that's part of why I look at that and I go, man, none of this stuff is guaranteed. But when they figured out, both the Nuggets and the Mavs, the ceiling is the roof.
Of course.
And that's the whole challenge here. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll continue this conversation, as well as just a couple little stats I'll throw at you guys that I found interesting.
Shout out to our friends over at Westera Credit Union, founded in 1934 right here in Colorado, with 9 locations in the Denver metro area.
9 real locations.
9 real locations.
Does that mean really 8?
7.5.
Yeah, one of the locations is not pulling its weight. We won't tell you which.
9 locations in the Denver metro area, and Westera Credit Union, what's really cool about them is they are all about helping their members financially prosper with their Smart Money checking account. The Smart Money checking account, it's awesome for those who want to make small balances earn big returns. You can earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000. That's each month. That's up to $120 a year. And then your next chunk of cash, you make 3% APY, and so on and so forth, in addition to the interest you earn. This account also comes with a rewards debit card, so no more monthly or maintenance fees, much more with that as well. So if you like earning money by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account, visit westeracu.com/smartmoney for more details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions apply.
Beep, beep. It's time to get driving, folks. It's time to get behind the wheel of a
I thought that came
Toyota.
from outside.
Yeah, I thought that was a car. It was so...
Oh, did you? I didn't mean to make you guys feel unsettled.
That was a Tacoma or
Confuse you
something.
guys.
Dude, I thought we were going to get hit by a car.
Hey, there's a lot of different types of Coloradans these days, but they all belong behind the wheel of a Toyota.
And most of them are mad at me.
You could be making you could be someone who likes trucks. You could be someone who likes SUVs. You could be someone who likes low emission to zero emission vehicles. If any of those people sound like you need to be doing your shopping at Toyota. Do yourself a favor. Visit one of your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. There's AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial. Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets. It's also the official vehicle of DNVR. Get yourself to your Front Range Toyota stores, folks. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Oh, there it
Also,
goes again.
if you're a DNVR diehard,
Yeah.
go to the Discord after the show.
Yes.
There will be a special announcement
There's a
there.
sweet deal there.
A special announcement for DNVR diehards only.
Yeah, but you
but you
can't know what
gotta
it
be
is.
in the Discord to get access to it. So, in the half hour to hour after the show, it will be there. Check it
Very
out.
nebulous. Very,
Check
very
it out
nebulous.
if you're a DNVR diehard.
But you're going to want to go because it's a sweet deal.
Man, you know what
Yes,
I love
it
about
is.
like these times, like dark times in the season? It's like you learn a lot about ourselves, each other, the chat, but the number of people that will tell us that we don't you don't understand is incredible.
I know.
It's just incredible.
It really is. You can't let it bother you, man.
No, it's not bothering me. It's just like,
You seem a little bothered.
well, I'm bothered because like I just hate the environment that I have found myself in the last like week and a half. Like
Wounded
there's a
fans.
variety of things floating in the air, and we could come together as a people, but we have to find the worst thing and just like extrapolate it out to like
We
just
need to
this
end
is
the month of November.
Ruby
already.
Madness
It's been
is
a
tearing us
weird
apart,
month,
brother.
dude. It's I'll tell you what it is.
Seasonal
Seasonal
depression.
affective depression.
I knew it.
Seasonal
That's what it
affective
is.
depression
I knew
after the
it.
time change. Don't take it out on us.
the
We're your
time
friends,
change.
man.
That's actually when things went south.
It's
Time
true.
it's so true,
It's
man.
1,000% true.
Really quick, a couple stats for you guys. Last season, the Nuggets averaged 15.5 points off of turnovers. What would you guess that number is this year?
They average converting turnovers in like 15
Into
and a half
points.
Say that again.
I would guess lower. I'll say 10.
So they converted. What did you say?
15.5 points came off of turnovers. Forced turnovers.
Oh, I think it's higher. They've been causing a decent amount of turnovers.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher as well. I'm going to say slightly higher.
19.5. That's
Wow.
second in the NBA. It's a huge increase. This is a part of a new Nuggets identity that's a little under the radar because of these last couple games, but being able to generate turnovers is not something the Nuggets defense has done before.
Yeah.
Now, does it mean that the Nuggets defense is better in aggregate? Not yet.
Yeah,
but
I
it
was
does
gonna
show
say,
a
the
new
defense
weapon
so
that you
far is
have that you
worse.
can
See,
cultivate.
I actually
Yeah.
like in watching the games where things were rolling and going well, and the stats seem to indicate that the Nuggets defense was not doing well. They were giving more points, this, that, or the other. But like the pace was higher, and there was just so much like chaos and confusion, and Nikola Jokic just getting to hang out up top and be a cookie monster, stolen balls. Like there's a lot of things you look at, especially with Peyton Watson. Just patrolling the paint, being the weak side help guy, blocking shots at a really high clip. Like there's a lot of like really impressive things that the Nuggets are doing, and it's playmaking versus like positional defensive basketball, switching, making sure that everybody things that you can draw up on a board, but like they've just like been swarming the ball.
They're
And
good in
it's been, like,
transition
awesome.
now.
Yeah.
They used to be so laughably bad in transition, just like missing
Totally,
alley oops
yeah.
and stuff. It was Harrison's favorite thing to watch.
Well, they still have some room to grow there.
But honestly, I mean, Christian and Russ, like these guys and Peyton are real weapons in transition now, and it's gone a long way.
Well, these go hand in hand because that was my other number. First of all, they were fifth this season in points off of turnover. I said second. They were fifth. They were 17th last year in fast break points. This season, they are second in fast break points. It's a real thing with them. They're
Not the
able
last
to
two
generate
games.
this. Well, not the last two, and that probably weighs them down a little bit.
A lot.
So I just look at this and I go, that is one thing, one layer to the Nuggets that is new, that I think is sustainable, especially when Jokic is there. And it is encouraging. It's a very encouraging thing that the Nuggets have been able to generate turnovers and play in transition, because if you get a team around Jokic that can do those things, he's great at both. He is a cookie monster. And he's also really good at getting quickly up the floor, getting the ball up the floor quickly. So I look at those two things and go, there's a foundation in place for something that could be a new weapon for the Nuggets.
Yeah, and Christian Brown, better transition player than KCP,
Way better.
who left a lot to be desired in that aspect of his game.
Really, that aspect particularly.
Yeah, like specifically finishing a layup on a fast break. Christian Brown, so far, way better at that than KCP was. You got Peyton Watson, who's playing more this season, very good in transition as well. And obviously Russell Westbrook, too, just pushing the pace. his finishing hasn't always been there, but it's just a different mentality. Like you've mentioned a lot, D-Line. It's a different mentality and just directive in that part of their game.
Yeah. Hopefully we see more of it here in the coming games.
I can't wait.
Hopefully we see Jokic tomorrow night, man.
Please, just bring Jokic back.
bring Jokic
Let's
back.
talk about this team in like real,
It's
honest
a cup
terms.
game. It's a
I
cup
know.
game, man.
He's not going to be back next game, and we're going to go.
It's a cup game. You can't go 0-2 in pool play to start the
Frankly,
cup.
I'm starting to suspect the Nuggets don't respect Emiratis, dude. Just no respect, brother.
They didn't play hard.
The
No,
Emirates,
no
the
respect.
Emiratis.
Right, man,
They seem to enjoy that. Maybe when they were. Did something
play well?
happen?
They're
in
never going to be
Dubai?
invited back to Abu
Did
Dhabi at
something
this rate.
happen in Abu Dhabi?
All right, let's go to the Super Chat scale. What do the people have to say today?
I bet it's about Jamal. Let's see.
Hashtag shut up and take my money. No, for a second I wasn't sure who this was. And then very quickly I put it together. No, Eric, you should be at the watch-alongs. We need you.
I'm not sure it would have helped.
Don't know if you would have enjoyed Eric on the watch along yesterday.
Mr. Exquisite Nugget, I'm near 50 subs, guys. Win for you. Who wins tomorrow?
Oh, I mean, Nuggets. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Jay, after OKC, you couldn't
What up,
tell
Jay?
me shit. After the last two, I'm officially open to hearing some shit again. Happy Monday. Legs at the DNVR bar?
Yes, Legs is coming in on
Wait, really?
Thursday. He's gonna. I mean, it's not like we're doing it. Maybe we'll do an event. People want to meet Legs. I don't know. You people want to come.
Oh, people definitely want to meet Legs.
I mean, he's coming in to do a show on this very couch, so we're gonna be doing a show on Thursday for sure.
Wow.
Let me know. You guys
Legs
hit me
live
up.
in
Let me know if you guys
studio.
want to do like a signing or something. Legs is a cool guy, man. He might just hang out and have a beer.
Yeah.
And one more from Cedric. AG is second best player. Jamal is fourth. Don't ask why.
Probably.
Do you know why?
Who's Nuggets' second best player this season? Is it Christian?
I can't do this, guys. I can't.
I can't either.
It has been Christian.
Not in this.
Third
lens.
best player.
Mike easily. Josh Barnett from Down Under. I have 5 Jamal Murray jerseys, twice paid for 20-second meetings, and 1 autograph. I defend him daily online these days. Please, Maul, give me some
ROI, return on investment.
ROI.
so true.
Fuel the backometer.
Dude,
That's so true.
it's so true. That's the thing. We have fought tooth and nail for this team. Every member, usually it's for Jokic, and like you get nothing but ROI because you just gonna laugh heartily at everybody. But like Jamal is like really in a place where he just is making us look bad, and we have nothing to do with it.
The connection, though, that a player feels to that, I think, is important, and that's part of the Jamal
I'm
journey.
hoping,
man.
like, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what it feels like to be criticized constantly. Perhaps, I mean, I'm being
bet it
criticized on the
sucks.
show. I'm not, I don't love it, but I'm like, perhaps you get to a point where it doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm hoping that Jamal, like, that there's enough of a burn just from the desire to like not have the entire internet clown you all the time.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for it. We haven't really seen it. I think we saw
Maybe,
two
maybe the
games
Nuggets
this
just
season.
need to have a just a scrolling Twitter timeline of just people
he sees
shit
it, though,
talking
man.
Jamal.
One thing I'll say about Jamal, though,
In the arena.
some guys don't see it and some guys
Next
see
to
it.
the
He
basket.
sees it, man. I will say this. Jamal is very emotional when they won. Loved the parade, was very emotional there. Like, he rides the highs and he rides the lows, I think, of how people feel about him.
Super Dope Hip Hop will close us out, and he's saying last year, guys, Jamal was quietly fire per 100 numbers and analytics.
It's true, actually,
14th
for a good part of the year.
14th offensive box plus minus, 19th box plus minus, 19th VORP before hurt pre-playoffs, but a shell of himself since. This year, 10 points, less than 10 points per 100 possessions, and 183rd in BPM.
Yikes.
183rd in BPM is wild, man.
How many players are there in the NBA?
400. So he's like a league average
not
player
good.
at the moment. Yeah, it's kind of tough, man. That is
Yikes.
tough. All right, that does it for a nice Monday show. Good start to the week.
I thought so, guys.
So we got all
Good
the
job,
fellas
everyone.
back together, which is
Hey-o.
always fun, man. We will be back again tomorrow. Nuggets at Grizzlies. Will Yoke be there? Man, that would be a nice little present. But if not,
Bro,
another opportunity. Another opportunity.
It's not gonna go-
Play against Jalen Wells and Scottie
Like
Pippen
if you
Jr.
also if you're like really angry, like just don't watch the next game if Jokic isn't
That's so
playing.
true.
Like
If
just
you're-
don't do
you're
it.
gonna
Like
be that fast, you could skip.
Like yeah, right. Like you don't have to watch every game and let it fuel your
Yeah.
anger. Like you can just skip it.
Yeah, you can just skip it. Everybody hit that like button on the way out. See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.